Hello, thanks for joining us. You're watching Arirang News coming live from Seoul. I'm Shin Se-min. We are coming on the air to bring you a live coverage of a briefing from South Korea's health authorities for the latest on the coronavirus outbreak. In a few moments' time, we will be cutting over to the Central Disaster and Safety Countermeasure Headquarters briefing site for the latest situation on the COVID-19 here in South Korea. But before we cut to that scene, I just want to give you an update on the current situation here in South Korea. As we came on the air, we have learned that the country has added a total of 297 new cases on Tuesday alone, of which 283 were local transmissions. A total of 297 daily new cases. That's the largest daily figure by far in the past 164 days or some 5 months. We are going to cut live to that scene of that briefing site. Let's listen in.
First of all, here is Mr. Kim Gang-lip with the briefing on the COVID-19 situation. Let us now begin our regular briefing for August 19th, Wednesday. As of today midnight, we have a total of 283 new local infections. And in Seoul, we have 150, and also Gyeonggi 94, and Incheon 8. And there are 252 patients in the metropolitan area, meaning that more than 88% of today's confirmed cases are clustered in the metropolitan area. There are some 140 patients related to the Sarangjeil Church, which accounts for a majority as well. And there are also church-stemming cases in other parts of the country as well. And among the members of the Sarangjeil Church, we have people who are awaiting to be tested or who are waiting for the results of the testing. And therefore, we also have trains of cluster infections in other parts of the country as well. And we believe that such trend will continue going forward for some time. And with swift testing and tracing, it is very important for us to contain the virus. And we believe that this week will be a very crucial moment in determining the future of our local transmissions. And in relation to the Sarangjeil Church in Seongbuk-gu District, Seoul City, as of today midnight, we have conducted about 3,700 members, and among them, there are 568 patients, and who have been positive, and the positive rate stands at 17%. And currently, 129 people are awaiting to be tested, and about 380 people say that they are not members of the church, and they also have not yet been tested. And we ask all of the members of the church to get tested as soon as possible, and we are continuously getting our reach on them. And as for some 600 people who we failed to get in touch of, we are cooperating closely with the police to identify all of the members of the church. Among the confirmed cases of these church, people above the age of 60 who are classified as high-risk group amounts to over 40%. And there also is a high possibility that they could develop into severe symptoms, and we ask for all of the church members as well as families to get tested as soon as possible for the sake of the health and safety of others as well, and also encourage your other church members to get tested as well. We also would like to note that some of the members who have been confirmed have attended the rallies that were held on August 8th near Gyeongbokgung Palace and on 15th of August at Gwanghwamun Plaza. And we also see that there is high infection risks there as well. Therefore, all people who attended either of these rallies are requested to get tested as soon as possible, irrespective of symptoms. More Moreover, we are also noting that breach on the quarantine measures, including self-quarantine and also testing, you would also be subject to severe consequences as this breaches the safety of our country. And we also will swiftly adjust and revise related laws and legislatives so that we can ask for their compensation as well. And the government has released yesterday afternoon that we will have toughened measures for social distancing in the metropolitan area. And starting from midnight today, the metropolitan area will be subject to toughened measures of social distancing. This includes not only Seoul and Gyeonggi-do province, but also the city of Incheon. And this bans all gatherings indoors of more than 50 people and outdoors with over 100 people. And as for the gatherings, we are referring to all of the people who are gathering at one place that are temporarily gatherings that have been announced on previously, and they include weddings, expositions, concerts, symposiums as well, and also rallies and demonstrations. And as for the testings for employment and screening testings, we will also make sure that they are carried out on a dispersive location. And if each of the locations have less than 50 people, we can carry these out under the consequence and then under the condition that we have strict quarantine measures. And all of the 12 high-risk facilities, including clubs, will also be subject to a closure. And all of the indoors public spaces will also be closed. And as for the religious services and churches in the metropolitan area, we will also allow non-face-to-face means of services, and we will also have a ban on all of the gatherings. And we would like to thank for those who are participating with such measures in advance, and we ask for all of these religious sectors to participate. And this will be carried out until the 30th of August, and we will be monitoring the situations and adjust the deadline. And these toughened measures will also affect the new couples who will be newlywed very soon, and it will also impact the daily lives and the livelihoods of many people who are operating and who are owning small businesses like PC cafes and so forth. However, if we fail to contain the virus at this specific point, we have a high risk of the virus spreading nationwide, and therefore the government has took bold and swift measures, and this was inevitable, and we ask for your understanding and cooperation. The toughened level 2 social distancing will be detailed out in our press release, so please refer to the document. Moreover, we also have cluster infections centering around an office tel here in the metropolitan area, and this were related to the door-to-door services that are not registered, and we will also carry out strengthened quarantine measures. As for all of the promotional sessions and the door-to-door sales facilities, they have been subject to a ban on suspension of the operations. And however, also for those who are not documented, we will conduct our utmost efforts to crack down on them. And we believe that as for them, we ask the public to continuously report to us if you see these unlawful operations of these undocumented door-to-door sales. Currently, we are witnessing continued sporadic outbreaks here in the metropolitan area, and it could also spread across the the nation at any time. The government will exert our full efforts and is also exerting our full efforts to contain the virus. However, it also calls for close cooperation and participation by the government, by the public. And our efforts, unilateral efforts, has limitations, and we believe that only with the help of the public can we fully contain the virus going forward. So we ask the residents who are living in the metropolitan area to note that the next 2 weeks is very crucial. So please only make essential outings like going out to work and to medical centers as well. And please also note the fact that if you are living in the metropolitan area, you can be exposed to the virus at any time. And not wearing your face mask and going to indoor places could also be very dangerous and very risky. So we ask you to refrain from going to crowded places and also refrain from eating at restaurants and cafes, and instead take out your food and also use delivery services. The government considers that this week will be a very crucial moment in determining the future outbreak of the country, and the government will exert our full efforts to contain the virus going forward. And the quarantine authorities, as well as many officials on site, including the medical practitioners, we also like to thank you once again for your hard efforts and dedication. So once again, please be reminded of yourselves that we were able to overcome from the long outbreak thanks to their dedication, and it is now time for the public to also exert your cooperation as well. So we ask each members of the public to exert your full efforts and also duly practice your responsibility as quarantine agents, and I am confident that we can overcome the virus going forward. Thank you very much.
And just to recap some of the details that we just heard from that briefing, a total of 297 new cases were reported on Tuesday in South Korea, of which 283 were local cluster transmissions. And that's the largest daily cases in the past 5 months. And add that all up, the country has added a total of 1,288 new coronavirus cases in the past 6 days alone. Definitely a sign that the curve is perhaps going up again here in South Korea. Just to also mention some of the things that the Vice Health Minister had mentioned, he urged the public to go get tested if they had visited any of the spots considered a hotspot and that had been reported with cluster infections in the past week. He also reminded the public of a toughened social distancing measures across capital of Seoul, including Gyeonggi-do province as well as Incheon, and urged them to avoid high-risk areas and avoid large public gatherings. And he also said this week is extremely a critical time in containing the spread of the virus here in the nation, and warned that if the state cannot control the cluster infections in the capital region, this could grow to become a nationwide infections. Again, only leading to even tougher measures from the government to be imposed. And the Vice Health Minister also urged that this can only be contained only with the help of the public, urging for their support in this time of need. That does it for us at this hour, but we'll be back with more the news lineup coming up at noon Korea time, which will be less than 1 hour from now. As always, thank you for watching and goodbye.